It is 1:34, and we will call this meeting to order. If you will rise for the invocation and the pledges. Commissioner Gonzalez is going to do the invocation.
Just bow your heads, please. Lord God, Heavenly Father, we ask you to guide us, to be with us as we make some choices today, hopefully for the right reasons. We ask you to be with this Commissioner's Court and working together. Things can be done. We thank you for everything you've given us this year and for being with us. We ask you to pray for those that need your prayers, especially those that are involved in those shootings. Pray for the people here today and pray for our families. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. We have all commissioners present. We have a quorum. It is 1:36. We are in the Nueces County Commissioners Courtroom, and I am certifying that there is a quorum present. Going on to item C, do we have any announcements of any conflicts of interest from any of the commissioners? There being none, we will move forward. Do we have the public comment book? Someone hasn't brought it up here. Has
Judge,
anyone?
question when you have a chance.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
Judge, I'd put on the agenda, or comment, I'm sorry, I'd put on the agenda number 4 and 5 with the promise to the court that there would not be a lot of discussion today, that there would either be a move forward or a move to table. I have talked with the developer on this, and they would like some time to visit. Scott was kind enough to make sure that we didn't table it too long in case it would stop their development, but I've talked with them, and Mr. Delaney's here, and they would rather table this until the second meeting in February so that we have time to get together and have that meeting that we need to have, because they have some input on that they'd like to put forth. So I would like to make a motion, if that's okay, Judge, to table 2A, 4, and 5, so people don't have to sit here that might be waiting for that one.
For that one, for the
Those two.
second meeting in February, not the first one, right?
Yes, ma'am, that's
Yes.
correct.
That would be February 22nd right now, yes. I have a motion to table. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion to table passes for those two items, so we will.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome, thank you. Going back to item D, public comment. Mr. Gergovich, I believe you are up. It's-
Thank you, Judge. Commissioners, Judge Mark Gergovich, 4622 Doty, 411. Come here today with my concerns about the breakwater project for the North Beach and the Lexington. My concern is the Lex has already got some erosion, okay? And Captain Ben and I were talking, and he informed me of something I didn't know. I thought she was anchored out there. She's not. If the underneath breaks down, she'll float. She's a boat. She's not designed to, fall over or anything. But my concern was, if we get this project done, and I mean pretty quick, it protects all of North Beach. And the other thing that concerns me is the animal rehabilitation outfit that's going in out there and our aquarium, because I'm a local diver and I love to go to that aquarium. That's all I got for you. Thanks.
Thank you. Christopher Martinez? You don't want to comment? No? Peter Davidson?
Good afternoon, Honorable Judge and Commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk this morning or this afternoon. I'm here to support the breakwater to protect the USS Lexington. The gentleman prior is correct. There is erosion at the bow and on the port side, and they're dredging the ship channel deeper and wider. But the currents of the waves and the wind also have an effect. I today would like to tell you what matches we do have. Well, first of all, let me give you an update of, I have met, from Commissioner Chesney, I met with certain people from the city boards and have further meetings coming up and regarding Type A funding, and hopefully we can move that in a good direction. But today, if you give us funding, that funding hopefully would be a match to procure other funding. But the whole project has to be submitted to the Texas General Land Office for them to accept the project. The project has to be built, and once it's built, then all the receipts get sent in, and they reimburse us for what we've spent on that project up to what they have offered us. Today, the Ed Rochelle Foundation has offered concrete blocks worth $1.3 million, transportation of those concrete blocks worth $200,000. They put in $180,000, or exactly $179,700 in engineering. The Port of Corpus Christi has put in $150,000 in engineering. The City of Corpus Christi has put in $250,000 towards engineering. The Ed Rochelle Foundation has put in-kind services, salaries, office equipment of $776,000 plus. And again, to Mr. Chesney, the port has offered their sediment. It's 980,000 cubic yards to finish the breakwater. Just the transportation alone is a very large percentage of funding, and that is cash money. So the sediment is not free. And there are two ways of doing it. You can put the sediment down and put armoring stone around it, which is the less expensive way, or you put your armoring stone and then fill it up behind. But that, when you work it out at $16 per cubic yard, which was a price from Mott MacDonald Engineers for moving sand sediment for the islands, that works out to $15,680,000. And those are the matches we have to date. So we would appreciate if you would consider as much as a matching fund as the USS Lexington is a National Historic Monument. She's old, as I've said in the past. Her keel was laid in 1942, and she went to war in the Pacific and picked up President Bush when he was shot down in 1942. So he survived and became our president. It is an historic monument that needs to be protected, and it's only one of two of the largest attractions for visitors in Corpus Christi. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for those numbers, Peter. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yes. Steve Banta.
Good afternoon, Judge Scott and Commissioners. I'm here today as a resident in Nueces County at 4833 Wooldridge Road, but also a business resident at North Beach, 2914 North Shoreline Drive. The executive director of the USS Lexington Museum I really appreciate everybody's passion here today in talking about this project. And I just wanted to relay my support for the fact that there's significant erosion annually at North Beach. The sand along the beach is replenished every 4 or 5 years at millions of dollars. In fact, it was just done a few weeks ago. They finished. We can already start to see it's starting to erode, and that will take a few years, and we'll have to replace it all again. That erosion that we see is occurring all along the sand bed across North Beach. The Lexington's been there for 30 years, and depth soundings that have taken place with engineering studies in leading up to the breakwater project have shown that the depths around the Lexington are deeper than they were 30 years ago when the ship was put in place, therefore supporting the fact that there is erosion. That continuing of erosion and larger ships coming in the channel in some point in the future is concerning. And this breakwater project not only would support the Lexington, support the aquarium, but all of North Beach, and a significant amount of residents that are there that would be protected that way, and a significant improvement to North Beach that needs it, and a significant amount of protection for tourism, which is big in this local industry in this city. And I just wanted to relay support in that way, and I appreciate everybody else giving this project some due consideration with the finances that are available through the recent grants. Thank you for your time.
Can I ask a question, Steve?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Have you had, same kind of questions, I'm glad you're here, especially because, you know, I think this court's gonna step up today and put something towards a project that, quite frankly, we're not the first line of defense on. I appreciate Peter's numbers. Have you had any conversations with the city? Have you relayed to them, you know, the need for this project?
Public comment, can you ask?
Oh, is this public comment? My bad.
That's okay.
I thought,
You
But it's
could,
an agenda item,
sorry.
so-
Call the
I'm sorry.
item
I'm sorry,
at
you're right.
your,
I should have waited till the agenda item, but
Yeah.
can we move to the agenda item? So I can ask the questions.
I don't want to
I'll
violate
wait.
your rules of
No, I'll
order.
wait.
I'm happy to
Just-
answer questions
Just know what I'm
anytime.
gonna ask you, and then I'll ask you in a minute. Sorry,
Yeah.
my
No
bad.
problem.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you
I
for your time.
apologize.
You're welcome, thank you.
I'm sorry. Just, okay. All right. You're right. No, you're right. I forgot it was public comment.
Lynn Frazier,
No, you're right. You're right.
we just got,
100% right.
Good afternoon,
Hello.
Connie and Commissioners. I've been a resident of North Beach since 2007, out in the harbors. And I also put in a restaurant there. I traveled the world for 18 years, been all over the Caribbean, been all over Indonesia, Malaysia, China, Australia, New Zealand, in the Middle East, and all of that. And I saw that there's an opportunity there to put a restaurant in. And good grief, our shoreline has really varied through the years. It's been several renourishments that we've gone through, and it's really, and then through a couple of the hurricanes, we've, you know, had some wave action through the through the restaurant. But we've since shut it down because of the bridge. There's just not enough business. Nobody knows which way to go and all to get down to the restaurant, and just part of life. And so we just closed it down, and we'll probably open back up in, I don't know, in a year or so, but we're going to wait. But one of the things that we did see there, saw all the wave action, because we're right there. And so all the wave action and everything, and then especially when the ships come in, you know, you see a 2-foot wave coming in, and it's really washes the sand. And now when they get these bigger ships coming in, these waves are even going to be taller. And so we need some way to break those waves. And just like at the marina over there, how they put that wall around it, it stopped all the wave action from beating up the boats and everything. It'd do the same thing for the people that had property there on the shoreline. And it would be very nice to have that and to fix that. And again, you know, as Steve said about the Lexington and all, there's a lot of sand that gets moved around that thing, because I used to go around that with a little boat, and you can't do that anymore because a lot of it's washed in and it's deeper on the other side. So you just wonder what's gonna happen next, and we get those bigger ships in there, it's gonna happen. And I've talked to the port quite a bit about, and they're really saying that, they'd help us furnish all the dirt, we need. They would, they'd help us in any way they could, because some of that stuff's gonna be up to them. But we've gotta instigate it. And if we instigate it, they can help us. And so I just wanted to say that about the shoreline there, and wanting to stop the erosion and quit. So, thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Is Mr. Delaney still here? I think your item was on the things we tabled, but it's still public comment, so, yes.
Mark Delaney, 105 China Beach, and we work with the dune protection permits and exemptions for dune protection permits. And I'd like to recommend for the BMAC meetings that we have, instead of 11 on there, 7. Lots of times it's really hard to get a quorum. And just a suggestion. And then Scott and I are working on better communication. It's really difficult, because get permission from you, and then it moves to the county, and then it moves to the general land office, and then reverses course, and then to the city. So Scott and I are working on better communication as well. But I think that scaling down the BMAC a little bit would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there anyone else who wished to do public comment? If you want to sign this, please. Ade, you want to take this back there? We all know Miss Vaughn.
Sorry.
That's
Forgot to
okay.
sign it. Well, good afternoon. First off, thank you for your service. I watched the Commissioners Court last week, so I believe this. I believe there are 3 of you on there that understand and really want to support the project, and I think you're going to come through. So thank you, Commissioner Morris, Commissioner Chesney, and Judge. And you weren't here when this all started. I was there when we first started going after the money for this project, and this was right at the very top, plus drainage. So I'm glad that we're getting to this point right now, and hopefully we'll get something. I've got to say, Commissioner Hernandez, I'm going to slap you on the wrist a little bit, because you represent my area and North Beach. And as I watched that video last week, I was very disappointed, because it made it look like North Beach just wasn't that important to you, but it is as important as any other area, and I know you know that. And I don't think you meant it like that, so I'm hoping today that you come through and give them something for this project, because it's very important. Like I said, it was one of the main ones that we looked at when we were trying to get the money. And I do agree that you guys should not be the only ones doing it. You are the ones that get the less taxes, but yet you're stepping up. The city should be involved, and Steve Banta may not remember this. I'm trying to answer your question. But a couple of years ago, Steve Banta, Peter Davidson, and I forget who else was there, we met with Sononi. He is very well aware of the Lexington. He knows, didn't seem real interested at that point, back then. But it's just so important that we take care of it. I don't think it takes a brain scientist to realize that the port needs to get involved. Those big ships coming in there, they are a problem. And they can give the sediment, which is wonderful that they want to do that, but they're going to give it to somebody and get rid of it. They need to give real money. They need to step up, and so does the city. But I appreciate whatever y'all get done. This is a project so important for the city, and we don't want anything to happen to the Lexington or the people in North Beach. Thank you.
Carolyn needs to sign. Oh, she did. Chad McGill.
Good afternoon, Judge, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in public comment today. I want to take a step back from all of this and think and consider where these funds came from. They came from, in late August 2017, we had a hurricane hit the coastal bend, start here and head north. And arguably, the bulk of the funds have gone up the coast, and this is our opportunity to take something that was obviously dangerous, life-threatening, it impacted a lot of lives, and turn it into something good. So whatever you do today with that $31 million, as you appropriate it or pledge it up to the GLO to then decide and come back, I know you're going to do something good with it, and I appreciate that very much. And as a past elected official, you look for times like these when you can make considerable change and improvements in an area with funds whether they came from something bad or dangerous and turn them into good, or something good and make it better. So with that, I'd like to express my support for the breakwaters. I've been involved in the process since day one, and just more of a volunteer, just helping where I can. If I can communicate anything specific, I am a constituent of Precinct 1. Commissioner Hernandez, your support of this project would be greatly appreciated. I know that there are constituents throughout all of your precincts, and of course the county. For you, Judge, the entire county, there are needs, and I understand that there are needs. But I'd like to tell my daughter, who's 7, and I'm sure you'll be able to tell your family members in the future, that we took something bad and turned it into something great. I see protecting the USS Lexington as something great. It's a National Historic Landmark. It is something to be proud of and to protect. At the same time, we can create habitat, create the opportunity for potentially the largest oyster seeding on Earth. The process for that could start here with this process. You're not the only ones giving funding, and I respect that, and I understand that message very clearly. Others do need to step up, and others have stepped up. So with that, just in conclusion, I appreciate each of you carefully considering the options and looking at what your needs are in your precinct. But supporting the breakwaters, I think, means a lot to just more than the people who live on North Beach. I live on Oleander, and I care very much about North Beach. In our history, we've already lost one boat on North Beach, was the Japonica. It was lost. It was listed after a storm. It was there back in, I think, the 1930s and 40s. And the last final note there, North Beach was the first place that the United States flag was flown in Texas, on the Texas mainland. We have uncovered that with our history. We've heard that through our documentary we created. And I think you can do something monumental, not only for Nueces County, but all the people, the 800,000 plus that come and visit us each year. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other person who wishes to comment, public comment? There being none, we will move into item E, the workshop. Edward, I think you're going to lead us in our, yes, thank you.
So, Judge, Commissioners, good afternoon. It's been a hectic couple of weeks in working with Commissioners and Commissioner Jag and the team, Ide and Connie and Anna and Juan over there. So, everybody talks about a lot of projects, and so what I wanted to show first is, yes, we have a lot of projects. We've got more projects than we have money. And all these projects are throughout all Nueces County, and all of them are 10 million, 15 million, large amount of money. It's because we do have a lot of drainage problems. And a lot of the drainage problems we have aren't ours. They're from surrounding counties that water just likes to come through Nueces County to get to somewhere. So what you have in front of you is a list of all the projects that, as we've talked to y'all and we've put together this list, that we think that we've found some kind of consensus or some type of groups. So, Judge, I don't know if you want to walk through each one of these projects, or if how would you like to address?
I think let's walk through the projects by precinct, the ones on our list that we've kind of identified the list. Can we do that?
Yes, ma'am. So, starting with Precinct 1, we have the Driscoll drainage improvements. We've got a project cost about 1.5 million.
Can I ask, has this been passed out so people can look at it? I was told last week it wasn't in the backup. I just want to make sure. Was this posted? Or was this?
We can put that
Yeah,
up.
let's let people see who. Okay, please. Go ahead.
I just got it a
Sorry.
minute ago. Yeah.
Which one is it?
So going back to precinct one, drainage improvements, and this is on the First Street and FM 665. Total is about 1.5 million, and we have that in the restricted. It is in the LMI. Banquetti wastewater improvements, the little community has had perennial problems with their drainage and infiltration into their system. So we're looking at 2.5 million for that, and that is also in the LMI. The Banquetti
From the GLO website, not
Per
from
the,
anybody.
yes,
Per the
ma'am.
GLO
Per the
website,
GLO.
yeah. Just wanted to
Yes.
clarify, make sure everyone was aware. Yes.
Banquetti water system, so they've got a problem with their system in which they're losing about 37% of their water. So that would really help the community in reducing rates and also helping increase their revenues. Detention pond on the corner of 624 and FM 70, we got a small fund to start there. Essentially, that can be a scalable pond. Right now, we're looking at purchase of land. ARPA funds may be brought in to finish the project. So essentially, that helps everything from Banquetti to Petronila to Driscoll to all the way into Baffin Bay, because that's where all our water holds up.
I think there's one more in the bottom, Edward, Valley View.
Yes, sir. Valley View Detention Pond, that's also in the 624 area. That's near 1889, and it would help the community
But you
there.
took that one off, I think. That's not
It's
listed
on-
on this, on his money. Yeah. Okay. Then precinct two.
Precinct 2. We have Tierra Grande, which is, again, it's in the unrestricted category. It can be LMI, yes, $1.8 million. Golden Acres is not in the LMI. It's $1.5 million. It's also a drainage project. Petronila Estates, another non-LMI grouping, is in $1.2 million. Belk Lane is in LMI, and that's about $1 million. The septic tank study, the septic tank problem, that's throughout the county, so it can be and it might not be in the LMI, so that's why we put no on that one. And then the rehabilitation is to fix those problems throughout.
Once you
So-
find out from the study.
Once we
Yes.
find out from the study. So all this waste ends up in the Petronila drainage or watershed, which then ends up into Baffin Bay. So when we're doing some kind of repairs like this, we're repairing throughout the whole
Everything.
Yala region.
Precinct three,
Precinct 3, we have the north drainage improvements. The total
which
of
is
six.
a much larger project, but yes.
Yes, we scaled
This
it
is a
down. but
start to it, yes.
It may also include, but this project alone right here would impact precinct 1, precinct 3, and then precinct 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps throughout the whole system, and it'll help some of the northwest drainage problems, and it'll help everybody that's down from there.
Very important project, yes.
Clarkwood drainage improvements, we've been out there, there's issues in that area, which is near our county park and throughout that whole project area. That'll help a great deal with those projects as well, with that area. Commissioner Precinct 4. We have Nottingham Acres drainage improvements, $2 million, not unrestricted. Santa Maria Estates drainage districts, 1.5. And then Rabbit Run, I think that we've upped that to 1.5, which is also a problem with drainage as well. And then for the county judge, we have $3 million for the breakwater and about $1 million to,
I thought we were gonna put all of that in the breakwater, the four.
we can do
total.
that, Judge. I'm
Yes.
sorry about that. We didn't catch that. $4 million for the breakwater.
Because that project is ready to go start now, and I don't have any projects in the, other than using one of theirs, so, yeah.
That's good.
So in total, we have the 31 million covered. There'd be some minor adjustments, but other than that, those are the major projects that we need to get done. Anna, if you can.
Do you have any questions, comments, anything, guys?
I just want to thank everybody who worked so hard on this. I know it was really tough to get this whittled down. And I know Commissioner Gonzalez spent a lot of time on this, as did everybody on the court and Commissioner and Judge Scott. And I think, you know, this is not easy. Everybody's got to figure out what to do. And I hope that, you know, as I said last week, I continue to support the Breakwater project, and Judge, and appreciate you doing that with yours. But I really hope we'll figure out a way to leverage those funds, because this just shouldn't be, we shouldn't be the big player in this. And we should be a player, and I'm happy to be, and I support it. But, you know, I had lunch with Mayor and told her the same thing, and hopefully she'll take that back and consider that. And I just hope the city will step up and do something about this, because this just shouldn't come down to us, that's for sure. But otherwise, it's a very whittled down list from last week, and everybody worked hard, and I appreciate it. I should make today fairly quick, so we can get going on a lot of paperwork that has to be done to get this going. This is just a really first phase. I know how much work y'all have got to do, and I appreciate staff's work on this too.
And one question, I mean, I agree. Thank you to our staff who put countless hours in the weekend. We know y'all worked through the weekend and everything to make it possible for this special meeting today. Last week, we just ran out of time, and we knew this was too important to try to rush through or piecemeal together. And thankfully, you all were able to help get us something, I think, that, you know, provided some key projects that we saw as essential or took priority, right? These are all priority, I guess, but were more essential than others. I do agree on the breakwater. It's so important to our community. And I'm glad to have always supported it and continue to support it, and thank the judge for putting money into that. My only question is this, we know this is not what was asked, but what happens if this is found that there is no, this project doesn't continue, then the judge regroup and then bring
There's
back
no other
another
match
list of
if you-
projects, or, okay. That's all I wanted to
No.
clarify. So hopefully it does work. Hopefully this is enough to meet some of that matching funds that hopefully the city can put in. And
Scott
I don't know if it
wants to
was
answer
Commissioner
that.
Vaughn or Councilman McGill that mentioned the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
The port, how can we not ever have that part of our conversation? And maybe it has been, and I just missed it, but that's very evident, right? We're talking about these big super tankers that are coming in that hopefully can put some funding to help out meet to that final goal as well, so.
To answer your question, Commissioner, you know, if this is not enough to do it, well, the path forward is in April, the Project of Special Merit Grants through the GLO's GOMESA funds opens up. And I've been in contact with Peter, and he knows I've been talking with my contact at the GLO, and this project scored as a level tier one project in the resiliency plan. And so the plan is to go back in April and ask for $5 million. That's what they capped there. So that would take this whole project to $9 million and get us at least to take care of the Lexington. And we got a home run there. So there's a path forward over the next year to get there and get it done.
That's great. That's great to hear.
But I have a question with that, okay? Like you were asking, you, Scott, yes. Since the deadline for these is February 21st, and you're talking about April, if this doesn't go forward, then what happens to this for?
Your application deadline is February 21st.
Yes.
I don't know what the construction time frame is. 'Cause
So I wouldn't be able to apply for anything else if you're not gonna get the rest of the money, is what I'm saying. That wasn't
can't
brought
answer
up
that,
to me
Judge.
before,
I
and that's a
didn't-
little concerning.
Yeah, I-
Emily, can you answer that maybe?
Yeah, I stayed out of COG.
Okay.
We know.
We wanna make sure, I mean, I'm happy to do this, but we don't wanna waste
Emily
money.
Martinez with the Coastal Bend Council of Governments. Thank you. Yes, you can. So there is an application process, and the key here is to get the application in.
Okay.
Even if there are some kinks to work out.
To
You want to
change.
save your place in line.
Okay.
So lots of, all of the COGs that receive funding and all of those jurisdictions within those regions are all submitting their applications in. You'll lose your place in line if we ask for an extension or wait too long, so we really want to make sure we get it in, even if we have to make adjustments along the way. So you're not competing for these dollars. These dollars were allocated to our region. The GLO is just making sure it fits within the framework. However we get the project done, or however you manage to get the project done financially down the way, or if you need to add in additional funding, that's up to you and to the court to make sure that that
Or
happens.
if they don't get the matching fund, where they could move forward, could the 4 million be transferred over to, say, this Robstown
could,
drainage
so
that he's
the-
already got on his list
The
that's
funds,
short?
the funds can then be reallocated
Okay,
to an
okay.
approved
That's all we wanted to know.
project.
We
So-
just wanted to make sure it wasn't gonna sit there and be wasted or
No, it
something.
wasn't. And so, and these are reimbursable funds,
Okay.
so you have to spend the money and then
Yes.
you'll be reimbursed.
Okay.
But that's where Judge, that's where we, the push on the city and the port. I mean, I appreciate what
agree.
Peter's meant,
If they can get to 9 through them, if we do the 4,
Yeah, I mean,
that's
really,
great.
I appreciate the
This is
numbers on
when
the
you
port,
really
but
ask,
at
yeah.
the same time, if you need 4 plus that dredge, plus another 9, then we're still real short, right? And if you're saying the dredge is part of the 14, or, I'm not sure how the math is, but this is where we've got to get some help from the city, because we don't want to have to worry about, after we submit it, them saying,
The
well.
city's allocation was around $15 million. So we don't have, I just know a little bit about, we don't have any information regarding what their use of those funds are. I know that they are working on something, but aside from, the Lexington and the tourism perspective and the beach and the nourishment, I mean, we're looking from a COG perspective, we're looking at regional resiliency and the long-term approach to, hardening our infrastructure and creating communities that are going to be able to weather the storm water and the storm surge coming in. As you know, when that storm surge comes in, it goes through the county, beyond the city limits. And so that is what our perspective is we're looking at this from a bigger picture perspective and long-term approach. It is a very high dollar project amount, we certainly understand that, and we are willing to work with the county to look for and identify other funding sources down the road, but we would like for you to consider making this a priority within the county to affect all of those communities, including those in Precinct 1. I know we spoke about that, Commissioner Hernandez, as well.
Well, I mean, I hope you had this same conversation with your friends at the city from your past
We
employment. Because obviously,
Yes.
they've got not only these funds, but seawall funds and type B
Yes,
funds.
I
all
was there
kinds of
with the
funds.
type A from the very
you were.
beginning and know
Yep,
what that nice little slush fund is sitting there. I hope that they're watching and listening, because we are going to remind them that this is certainly a use of funds
It's
that
what
they
they're,
can
I mean, this is the
put.
kind of stuff they're for and
completely
what we
agree,
set it up
Commissioner.
for, and so I do too, so I appreciate that, and I, it sounds like you've had it, and I guess maybe Steve's answer would have been, he probably has talked to some of them, I hope, as well, because, again, I get it's not enough,
Right.
but, at the same time, there's just gotta be other partners in this, and again, I hope the port will write a check too, they've been writing checks for a lot of things around this town, and maybe, that this is pretty important, and
I'd like to, when you're through, I want
Oh,
to add
good.
one more comment about all the commissioners up here. I know this looks like we all have pet projects. They have things in their areas that are highly important. There are so many things that we can do with this money and so many needs, and it's not enough for anybody. But to clarify, to think that only 3 of us wanted this project, I need to be clear and let you know, I was willing to step aside because all of these projects fall under the county judge, all 4 precincts. And all 4 of my commissioners were adamant about me getting a designated amount, and they knew where my designated amount was going. So they are not against this project. So let me just clarify that. Everybody is on board with this 100%.
And we, thanks to her generosity, I said, okay, Judge, you got 4 million, what do you want to do with it? We knew where it was going, so,
And they were all for it,
we're all,
so.
we'll support it, that's what you want, we'll support it. But, she didn't have the 4 million at the beginning.
Yeah.
But we gave her the 4 million, that we know where she was gonna put it, so, and as far as the, I keep hearing the 15 million allocated to the city. I don't care if it was 5 million, I mean, you can put $1 million, you put $1 million. And you put $1.5 million, you put $1.5 million. I mean, it's not about how much you get, it's about what do you put into it? What do you bring to the table? Port, I'm really disappointed at the port. That they should have come up with 2 million or 3 million.
Well, I cannot speak on behalf of the port.
But I'm asking you too, but I'm speaking for myself, right? But I can speak for myself. So that's why I'm disappointed they didn't come to the table with more. You know, and I'm talking about cash money, I'm not talking about sand and whatever you take out to bring it somewhere else, but, you know, but I'm just, that's me. And I know about floodwaters, believe me, we get the same thing, this is why we're concerned. Because all the floodwater that come in goes through all the colonias, all the western area, and this is why we're concerned about ours too. So, but thank you everything, thank you for all your help, thank you for being there for us when we asked you to guide us and to help us, and really appreciate it. And Peter, and thank you for stepping up, you know, but I wish we could do more, but at least we stepped up, brought something to the table.
Judge, those are very kind words that you just said. Almost brings me to tears because, you know, to have someone say what you just said, because that's not how we've been treated the last 4 years. And I really appreciate that because I think you're dead on in saying what you said. I think everybody's going to vote for, it sounds like everybody's going to vote for this entire list. And you said it very well. We did. We wanted you to have a say in this, and I think we all knew where you were going to put yours, and we were all good with it. So I really appreciate you taking the time and saying it that way, because this is a team effort. It's been a team effort, and everybody else here, I think everybody up here is going to support this, and it sounds like, and I think that's needs to be noted. Everybody's up here voting for all of this, and that's the difference that we have as a real team for a change, and it's nice to have it. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, Judge, I also would like to add to it. First of all, I want to thank you, Judge, for acknowledging us that we did, with intentions, gave you those $4 million. We agreed to give you the $4 million because we knew how you were going to spend it. And I want to thank the people that are here advocating for the North Beach. But I also have a responsibility to the people in Banquete and those smaller communities that have been needing the help for years, not just this past year or what, for years. Banquete doesn't have, needs good drinking water, okay, for their families, the kids. And if I could do more, I would, okay? Because I think it's very deserving. It'll help the whole community. But right now, this is the way I feel I should do it. And I apologize to y'all if you all think I'm wrong. Ms. Vaughn, I thank you for the opportunity you gave me. Hope you don't regret it, but maybe you do. And this is the way I feel. I think those areas have been neglected for a long time, and I want to do something for those areas, which includes drainage and sewage. But again, Judge, thank you very much for acknowledging us, letting these folks know that we also contributed to your $4 million. So,
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Absolutely. You want to say anything, John, or are you good?
Judge,
Okay, you're good.
I was just going to make a motion.
Are
To
we
accept-
moving into the regular agenda then? That was a workshop, sorry.
I'm going to get it right at some point. I haven't been here very long. I don't know how this works.
You want to
Sorry.
make sure that Commissioner Chesney's reflect 5 million. Yeah.
So do I need to state the time? That
Five
it's
minutes?
2:17, we're coming out of the workshop, going to the regular agenda items. It is 2:17. Item number 1, discuss and consider the identification of projects. I believe we've gone through the projects. If I could get a motion to move forward with the projects discussed.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
And Judge, I do,
Yes.
for clarification, what I've got is a little different than what was just handed out, so it would reflect that mine would have 5 million in it than the rough copy I had, sorry, so I want to make sure, but it still has everything else that we've talked about. But I haven't looked at that one because it just got handed to me, sorry, I was looking at a rough. So,
Judges, if you can just, like I said, there's gonna be minor tweaks.
There
So
are
if you
going to
can
be a
just-
couple of minor tweaks because
So-
there's one that's over on Commissioner Hernandez's as well, but
But if we just do the projects and we'll
do the
work them.
projects that we listed. We have the motion and the second to do the projects that are listed. And the funding, the amounts are going to total up to the correct amounts, yes.
okay.
Yes, yours is the 5. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. There being none, the motion passes. Thank you, everyone, for your hard work on that. And I know we've gone over so many lists and so many maps and so many things to make sure we get this correct, and we're very happy to do this today. Item number 2, discuss and consider the CDBG MIT extension request. As I understand it from what we heard earlier, the extension is not good, Emily, right? It moves us to a different part of the list. In your comments earlier, you said something, if you file an extension, we were just checking to make sure if we should. So you're suggesting we not file an extension because that moves us to the bottom of the list?
That is correct.
Yes.
Moves us to the bottom of the list from processing standpoint, but not from getting our money.
Oh, no, that's correct, yeah.
Right.
You will not, your allocation is your allocation, but it's the bandwidth that the GLO has in terms of being able to, evaluate the applications, go through them,
Oh,
look at
then
them,
we'll be
approve
waiting
them, then
longer and
tell you
longer.
yes or no, I mean,
Right,
so
and
that's really what that
And
is.
this was just put on here as a fallback, Judge, if you remember.
Just in case, we
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
wanted to cover it in case we
Right.
needed to,
Right,
yes, so.
and the fallback is not necessarily still a bad thing to do, just in case we run up into a problem, because my understanding there's a ton of paperwork and a lot of different things, and so it still may not be a bad idea to pass the motion, but just not use it. But I mean, if y'all want to wait
To
till
have
the
it in
8th,
case we get into a bind.
that
if
was
we
all it
need
was.
just-
We want to get it in on the 21st or before, believe me, but we also didn't want to have to come back to court on a special meeting because we're up on the 18th and we've messed that up. So I just asked this to be put on as a pure
Do you want to make
fallback.
a motion?
Yeah, my
like
motion would be
that?
to have the extension available to the court, but it is a last-ditch effort. That would be my motion. We still would be pushing forward to get it in before the 21st of February.
Good afternoon. Yes, I would appreciate that. This is something new on these applications that we'll be doing. There'll be questions that need to be answered, and, we're gonna have to reach out to everyone and just get that. So yes, if there's a bump in the road, we need to have that, that kind of.
Right, and so we would, in the vein of discussion, if you would just put this on as a standing item on our agenda, like, I guess we don't have that many meetings. Obviously, we only have one more meeting on the 8th, but let's put it on the 8th for an update as to where we are in the application process so that we can do what we need to do to help push it along. But I do think having it, and we may not need, 60 days or 90 days. We may just need an extension for 10 days. I mean, it may not be that we need an extension for the whole time that we're allowed. That's just what this motion provides. But before we go past the 21st, you got to tell us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but I
Well,
appreciate
I
that
think on the
consideration.
next item, we're going to help you get there, so on item number 3, to make sure that we don't go past, so that's part of our agenda as well today. So we have a motion just to keep that, for the approval to file the extension as a last resort. We have a second for that motion. Is there any other discussion? And all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. There being none, the motion passes. Moving on to item number 3, this will hopefully help us to make sure that we meet that 21st deadline. Discuss and consider options for administration of grant funds, including a change to the administrator of the CDBG, MIT, and related grants and related matters. Aday, do you want to take this one?
Yes,
Let
Judge.
us know, yes.
So this is an option also. So CDBG funds we can be using for, also for personnel. So we can, if we need to support grants administration, we can, if the court decides, we can add personnel to assist. Or
There's a lot
have,
of paperwork that goes
it's a lot of
into this,
paperwork, it's a lot
and
of
we
data
can
that we have to be
either-
providing. So we're gonna work really hard to get the deadline to the 21st. But you never know, so it's just to be prepared. So this is an option just to add more personnel if the court wishes to do that. Or also, we have a consultants, that's also, it's an option.
Isn't
But
this
if
the one?
go ahead, sorry. This is the one we talked about, Brent, where it's a lot cheaper if we hired a full-time person maybe to help with this.
That's where I
that
think
the
we were going to
funds
go
could
into
be
executive
used.
session.
Correct.
Yes,
We're going to talk about an executive session?
Yes.
All the different options, so yeah, do we?
Oh, is this going to executive? I'm sorry.
Well, no, I mean, it was related just to talk about the options that we have with some contracts that related to this and stuff like that.
Oh, so do we want to push this off?
I mean,
Number 3?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
I think we probably need to go to second session.
number 3.
God bless you.
Thank you.
I think that's the only one, right?
That's all, that's the
Jenny,
only
I
thing
guess
we
this would be
have.
the one where we would talk about,
The discussion there will then inform the purchasing item and item 2A3.
So then we would have to come back if there's an action on 3, if we want to move forward with hiring an individual for
Yes.
that. So after we go into executive,
Executive.
we'll make that decision. Okay, okay. So, moving on, and, purchasing item B1, discuss and consider approving of funding. Would that be in there too?
Also, it needs to be,
So
yeah.
that needs to be in executive session too.
it does, okay. I don't, that one wasn't mine to talk.
That item in particular, not so much, but whatever discussion in A will assist the court in that
So we need to come
one.
back and deal
Yes.
with that one after executive session because we can't do that until we figure out. Yes, okay.
Whatever you think, Judge,
So-
I'm good.
That being said, there is, we are ready to move into executive session. It is 2:25. Public notice is given. The Commissioners Court may elect to go into executive session anytime during the meeting to discuss matters listed anywhere on the agenda when authorized by the provisions of the Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. To the extent there has been a best practice of distinguishing items for public deliberation and those for executive session, the public is advised that the court is departing from that practice and reserves the right to discuss any listed agenda items in the executive session when authorized by law to do so. In the event the Commissioners Court elects to go into executive session regarding an agenda item, the section or sections of the Open Meetings Act authorizing the executive session will be publicly announced by the presiding officer in accordance with the authority of the Government Code, Vernon's Texas Code, Section 551.071, 551.072, 551.073, 551.074, 551.0745, 551.076, 551.086, 551.087. The Commissioners Court will hold an executive session to consult with attorneys, including matters relating to litigation, deliberate regarding real property, prospective gifts, personnel matters, including termination, county advisory bodies, security devices, and/or economic development negotiations, and other matters that may be discussed in an executive session. Upon completion of the executive session, the Commissioners Court may, in an open session, take such action as appropriate on items discussed in an executive session.
It's not noted, but item A is under 551071, Judge.
Okay. 551071?
Yes.
Okay, so from the regular agenda A3 to item A, consult with the county attorney on legal matters related to agreement with Tidal Basin Government Consulting LLC for RFP 3125-20 grants, administrative and projects management, community development block grant, mitigation CDBG, MIT 551.071. Okay.
Time?
Time is, sorry, I already did time, 2:28. .309, and we're coming back into our regular meeting, coming online. We will go to the regular agenda item number 3, discuss and consider options for administration of grant funds, including a change to the administrator of the CDBG, MIT, and related grants and related matters. I believe Commissioner Gonzalez, you have a motion for us to.
Yeah, I'd like to, Commissioners Court authorizes county attorney to give Tidal Basin notice of termination of contract as per Article number 18, item number 4.
We have a motion and a second Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes unanimously. And that is, you got all that for the motion. Perfect. I'm going to purchasing, B1, discuss and consider approval of a finding for the method of procurement, request for proposals for grant administrative and project management services for the Community Development Block Grant Mitigation, CDBG, MIT allocation, authorizing the purchasing agent to publish a notice and adopt an order delegating evaluation authority to a selection committee. I believe there's some changes to that, and Commissioner Chesney, you have a motion for us?
Judge, thank you. Motion to approve an RFP for grant administration related to this item on a fee, not percentage basis, and to be done and brought back by February 15th or sooner if possible.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Is that what you need? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign? Then moving on, we're about done. Do we have any adjournment in memory? There being none, then it is 3:11 and this meeting is over. Thank you very